Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Brains Byte Back. In this episode, we're joined by Rajat Mishra, founder and CEO of Prezent, an enterprise business communication platform. Rajat shares that at a very young age, he realized that life can be hard if you don't communicate well, even for the brightest of people. His career journey made him question the secret of what makes great business communication great, and it led him to discover the recipe. And today he's sharing that secret sauce with others in the form of Prezent. The intelligent platform automates a list of primary business communication needs with modern technology in a personalized, cost-effective way. There's a method to the madness of business comms. If you want to learn more about what's in the sauce, stick around, even if you don't know your way around the kitchen.
My name is Rajat Mishra. I'm the founder and CEO of Prezent.ai. Prezent is an enterprise business communication platform that helps enterprise customers with business communication and presentation productivity.
Awesome, Rajat. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Brains Byte Back. I'm really excited to have you on the show because as someone who majored in communications, I have a special interest in how this industry is evolving. But before I ask you about that, I usually like to start by providing our listeners with insight into our guests' career journeys. Every CEO and entrepreneur has a story. So what's yours?
Yeah, Eric, so I grew up in a middle-class family in India. You know, we didn't have money, but we were happy. And I had a stutter when I was a child. And you can imagine growing up in the mean streets of Delhi, my friends would make fun of me because of my stuttering. So very early in life, Eric, I realized that if you cannot communicate well, life is hard. And I had the good fortune to go to IIT and study computer science at IIT Delhi, work at Microsoft, and then McKinsey and Cisco. And throughout my career, I realized that there are many people who have great ideas, who are really smart, like sharp engineers or great operations people. Their ideas are not being accepted and their careers are not moving forward because they're unable to communicate their ideas well. So I started thinking about, what makes great communication, great business communication great? And was there a way to democratize great business communication? Because, I spent 5 years at McKinsey and I was a consultant, so I can make fun of them. I think a big part of value prop of a consultant is the communication, not just the strategy and the functional expertise. So was it possible to kind of understand the secrets of what makes great business communication great and then make it available to millions of people? And so I was a senior vice president at Cisco Systems. I went to my boss one day and said, I have this crazy idea. I want to democratize great business communication and quit my job. So I quit my 7-figure job at Cisco and started Prezent. And one of the things we had done to de-risk the start of Prezent was, before I started Prezent, my wife actually started a services business called Prezentium in 2017 or so. And she started that business because both of us met at Wharton and we were both communication fellows. So we both kind of had the same passion of helping people with communication. But she started Prezentium in 2017-18 to test the idea whether helping enterprises with business communication, is that a painkiller or a vitamin? So will people pay for it, or is it just nice to have? Get insights into the industry, and also learn about customer needs. So when I quit, we had all that learnings from what I call the prequel of Prezent. And we were off to the races. So I invested $1 million of my own money to start Prezent. And we raised a seed round around 4.3 million from a family and friends and some executives I knew. We very quickly got to the $1 million in ARR, and this was at the height of the ZERP era. So there was a frenzy for Series A funding. So we raised 20 million at that time, and so now we serve over 100 Fortune 1000 companies, and we've built a platform that people use to save time and save money and elevate business storytelling.
So basically you tested the waters before you made the dive, but it still sounds it was pretty new because this started in 2021?
Yeah, we started in 2021. And all of 2021, I remember the COVID time was just me and a couple of my friends. We were just creating prototypes of the products. So we created over 20 different prototypes. What helped us was because my wife's company had over 30 enterprise accounts at that time, we could test the prototypes with the enterprise customers. And we got to product market fit much faster than other startups would because of the advantage that we had.
So when you meet somebody for the first time and you want to explain what Present is, I'm sure it's much easier to do so, visually, but how do you explain to a client that's inquiring, let's say by phone?
Yeah, so we kind of describe Present as an AI-powered business communication and presentation productivity platform, Eric. And Present automates 4 manual business communication use cases because business communication, Eric, has been an automation backwater in the enterprise. Even after so many years, you go to consultants and agencies. So Present automates 4 manual business communication use cases. First is create hyper-personalized presentations that are aligned to your brand in seconds. Second is transform existing content into stunning new content. Third is enable your team with a best-in-class knowledge. And fourth is learn the art and science of business communication. So it's one intelligent platform that automates all these 4 business communication needs. And we also provide access to our expert services in case you need an expert to kind of work.
So it's more than just, because I was understanding at the beginning as well, is, helping a lot with presentations, like big companies, that's one of the big things that they need. But do you guys focus on internal communications as well? From what I imagine, you're also helping build brands through their image with the templates that you're giving them.
Yeah, that's a great point, Eric, because most people think of us as helping with presentations or visual design. But the way we think about it is, visual design is just the tip of the business communication iceberg, right, Eric? It's like saying Godfather and my favorite movie, Finding Nemo, are great movies because of the colors on the screen. I mean, of course not, right? They are great. They're cinematic masterpieces because of 3-dimensional characters. The storyline is great. The background has been thoroughly researched. Similarly, the presentation is just the tip of the business communication iceberg. Underneath that, you have things like understanding the audience, structured storyline, insight about the industry, insight about the function. And what our AI does, we have basically cracked the code on what makes great business communication great. And our AI agent, Astrid, helps you create that. So the end product might be a presentation, but what we're helping you is with business storytelling. And we also have a learn component. I remember when I was at Cisco, I had a team of 1,000 people and I wanted to help my team with business communication. I hired McKinsey and Company to help me with workshops. Each workshop was 40,000, Eric, and I had to do 8 of them. And so I was like, this is pretty crazy, right? There is no scalable way to help teams with business communication. And that's why we built kind of one platform that has all those 4 use cases: create, transform, learn, enable. And it has the secret sauce of not just design, but business storytelling.
It sounds like you want the companies to focus more on the meat of their information while you guys are kind of helping them, guide them through design and through data that could help build on those communications. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good way of kind of saying it. So, we basically, just another way to think about what we do is we asked ourselves what makes business communication great. And we, Eric, broke it down into 6 factors, which is what is captured in our AI agent, right? First is the audience empathy. So for example, how I talk to you about Present versus my 8-year-old daughter who has put her life savings of $20 into Present is very, very different, right? So
that's a good point.
Vary by audience, right? It should vary. The structured storyline is important, beginning, middle, and end. Continuous training is important. Communication needs to be relevant to the context. Like how we talk about inflation now, Eric, versus how we talked about inflation 4 years ago when there was no inflation is very different, right? So based on company context, it should vary. It should be relevant to context. How you talk to a marketing person in biopharma is different than how you talk to an operations person in tech. So it should vary by industry, the insights by industry. And finally, there's design. So these 6 things, Eric, they spell Astrid, ASTRID. And that is what we're trying to help everyone with. It's almost like having a communication expert and a consultant and a designer in your pocket. So everyone can become a communication superhero with the platform.
What I thought was really cool when we were talking earlier, when you started Present, you started with AI in mind. This is not an afterthought. You guys saw that this was an opportunity and grew from there. Talk to me a little bit more about how AI plays a role in guiding these companies.
Yeah, that's a great question, Eric. So when we started, we had the Prezent.ai domain in 2021. And I remember people were like, what is this AI thing, right? What is this .ai? Because I knew that, communication, people think of it as a right brain activity. It's more creative. You have to talk to people. But I knew that if we can bring in some left brain into it, technology, machine learning models, you can automate a lot of the manual processes. So we started a lot with using neural nets and hyper personalizing the communication to the audience. So on our platform, when someone joins, they go through a little fingerprint quiz, and we find about 60 identifiers about them. So just like Netflix recommends movies to you, the platform recommends, if anyone's communicating with you, Eric, they'll communicate in the style that you like. So that was kind of the early part of the AI, the neural nets. And of course, in November in 2022 was a watershed moment, and with ChatGPT coming out and LLMs. So that's been a huge tailwind for us. So what we've done now is we've built Astrid, which is a compound AI system. So it includes original neural nets we had. It has a fine-tuned LLM that we fine-tuned on over metadata from over 1 million slides. It includes self-learning models. It also includes computer vision. So all these models, they talk to each other, and we take user input. And that's how we are able to really personalize communication for each person. Imagine like in an enterprise, when you have a presentation, even though 10 people are listening, Eric, they all 10 might be different, but they all 10 get the same presentation. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me, right? Because you want to communicate to people in the most effective manner. And I remember when I was in Cisco, in my early days as early in career VP, Eric, I had to present to the CFO. And I'll tell you, that meeting really bombed. I thought I'm going to get fired, right? And when I talked to a friend of mine, I asked, and she told me, hey, didn't you know that she likes to get the deck a day in advance? And she hates images, she likes charts, and she likes to have a conversation. So if I just knew that, if I just had that insight, I could have had a better outcome. So that is one of the things that Astrid captures in the A of Astrid is audience empathy, the information about people, so you can really hyper personalize. So we've been on this AI journey, and people now have gone from asking what is the AI to where is the AI, and it's almost like it's the AI has been pre-sold for us in the enterprise.
It sounds like that flopped at the end of the day was a gift, because it made you come to present with this idea of, hey, how could I have fixed this in the past? And now you're basically saving people from dealing with this kind of stuff in the future.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's a lifetime of mistakes in communication that have shaped Present, and all the things that consultants would do or agencies do. We are trying to bring that into our software and our services. Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic. Rajat, I came across this term, democratized business communication. I saw it on your LinkedIn. I saw it on the page. I understand it's like a mission statement for you guys. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah. So all the four words matter a lot to us. So that is our company's mission, and we are starting with presentations, but we are expanding to other forms of communication as well in the business world. So the first word, democratize, Eric, what it means to us is give the power of great business communication to everyone within a company. The unfortunate thing in an enterprise is that the senior people, the senior executives have a lot of help, right? I remember I had a chief of staff, I had a communications person, I had an admin, but there are people in the middle and at the bottom of the org, the middle managers and the early in career folks. These are the people who have the least time. They are stretched in all directions, and they may not have the time or the training for business communication. So democratizes, can you help everyone in the company, not just the senior people? And we put the word business in there because we are not in the consumer space. We are 100% focused on the, second word is great. So in the beginning, we didn't know what great meant. But now we have deconstructed that into Astrid, Eric. So great means having those 6 kind of multidisciplinary components. Business is we're just focused on the business world, not on the consumer world. And then communication, like I said, we are starting with presentations, but we're moving into other areas. Like you can speak into Present, and Present will tell you how you can improve your communication. or you can look up best practices on communication, and we'll guide you through that process. So that's what it means for us. Every month we have a monthly beat. We're a 100% remote organization. So we get together every month, and the first thing we start with is that's our mission. And our founding belief, Eric, is that everyone deserves a fair chance to bring their ideas to life. So we're not just helping people bring their ideas to life, but also for every member on the platform, we donate $1 to a children's charity. And I've also pledged 1% of the company's equity to help underprivileged children. So it's not just business people with communication, but also can we help underprivileged children and give them a fair chance as well.
That's awesome. To go back a little bit more on the AI aspect, I'm curious how people react to that. I'm sure there's a lot of things in the pipeline because the technology continues to keep growing, and I'm sure that will grow alongside Present. But what's the reaction been from 2021 to now? How are people, when you mention that AI is part of the product, are they willing to really just jump in, or are they a little bit hesitant?
Yeah, I think so we're deep in the space, and I can only speak to the enterprise, right? Not in the consumer world. But the enterprise, Eric, what we find is there are 3 types of customers and buyers. I think the first type, they know AI is going to drive tremendous productivity improvements, and they want to just embrace it. And we have a lot of customers who have moved from a standard product to a premium product. So they love it. They see it. We had a customer who recently said, "I want to marry Astrid," right? So people love what Astrid can do. So that's kind of one group of customers. I think forward looking, I think that group is kind of growing in size. Then there is another group that understand the power of AI, but they are just bogged down by bureaucracy and process, and also figuring out is it safe to implement in the enterprise or not. And that second kind of company, they have we had a company that had like a 42-page AI approval document. So in that group, it takes a while, but the good news is once you go through that AI process, which could be about responsible AI or safe AI, then the company also feels comfortable deploying it. And I think there's a small percent, maybe like 5-10%. I think the first category is probably 50-60%. Second is probably 30% or so. But there is a 10% category, Eric, they're just scared. And we've had companies where .ai domain names have been blocked. So you cannot even start a conversation about AI because they're like, hey, we don't know what it is, we're scared about it, and we're not even going to try it out. And thankfully, that's I would say about like 5-10% of the enterprise.
That's a sad way to think. But the headlines don't help when it's sensationalizing certain things with regards to issues around AI, and people tend to gravitate towards that. And then the algorithm will send them all these stories online compared to the beautiful things that AI is doing, because it's being picked up across a variety of different industries. It's, making workflow more efficient, providing new revenue streams. So I think in my case, obviously I would embrace it, but I could understand when it's a larger company, certain things are on the line. There's hesitation there, but at the same time, innovation is what, pushes people to grow.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And there's a lot of like, let's understand it before we roll it out, which sometimes, I tend to approach all types of customers with empathy, and there's a reason why they're behaving in that way. But about AI, I would say, many things 18 months ago, they were almost science fiction. I remember when we would talk to the customers in the early days, they would say, hey, can I just tell you my main ideas, and can you just create a whole presentation for me and tailor it to this person in my company brand? And now you can do that, right? You can have a deck that is a Frankenstein deck, which is like in multiple templates. And they were manually fixing it, making it brand compliant, changing images, icons. But now with AI, you can do that, almost instantaneously, Eric. It's as a computer scientist, I have found this journey very satisfying over the last 3 years. What we thought was just impossible, now it's live in the product and people are using it.
And for me, I was telling you this, it never ceases to amaze me. The direction that we're going, the people that are making that jump, people like yourself that are looking at this technology, want to make it grow and pushing society forward in terms of making things, really efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel all of us lucky to have a company where we have a lot of people working on a cool product and solving a problem with AI. But I think all of us, just like I feel every company has a social imperative to help society in some way, I also feel all of us have an imperative to talk about AI and how it can be responsible, safe, and help humans as well, right? So I think it's very important for every startup founder or every AI leader to be doing that right now, and educate people, not just kind of monetize the technology.
Have you guys talked a little bit about what's next in AI that you could apply to Prezent in the near future? That might seem like it's far away, but like how we were talking about.
We always talk about that. I think a big part of it is, going from single mode, creating content, to multi-mode. So like I was saying, one of the things we're thinking about is, can we have a voice coach as well? So right now, if you create content, we can transform it, improve it. But can you speak when you also communicate by speaking? So can we, if you're presenting to someone, can you practice with Present, and can Present tell you about the ums and ahs, and how do you tailor it to each individual, right? So that's another area we are thinking about. And but there is, I think, like, exponential change in this technology every few days, right? And I just remember about 6 months ago, it felt like the value was in the LLMs, right? And we always believed LLMs will be commoditized. And now we realize that I think the future is, instead of just talking about models, I think the future is these compound AI systems, right? Where many kind of pieces of many AI components work together. Like for us, we have multimodal deep learning modules, we have fine-tuned LLMs, and then we have unsupervised machine learning and vision models. And all these pieces kind of work together. So I think that's kind of the future, Eric, that not just because there's so much chat about LLMs, right? But I think it's, can you bring different kinds of models and components together, use more input, and get smarter, right? So, and I think we started with creating the first draft for people, helping them with the first draft. But I think as the AI gets smarter, you'll be able to be a full-fledged assistant, right? To executives. And another thing we're finding, Eric, in the enterprise is, I think the future is AI agents working with each other. So just like in life, you don't have one assistant for everything, right? You have a CFA, you have a CPA, you have a wealth manager, you have a chef, all these people, you have a banker, all these people helping you. So we are building the business communication AI agent, which probably can interact with another agent that helps you with sales, some other agent that helps you with HR, and all these agents just talk to each other autonomously and keep getting better and make lives more productive in the enterprise.
Very insightful. Thank you so much, Rajat, for joining us on this episode of Brains Byte Back. I hope I can have you on again in the near future to see how Prezent is growing, because I'm sure this is just the beginning, if anything.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. It's super fun being on your podcast.
Thank you. That's a wrap for today's episode. If you benefited from what you've learned today, feel free to leave us a review on iTunes. You can also find all our past and future episodes on YouTube and Spotify under Brains Byte Back. And if you'd like to connect with us directly, you can always reach out to us by email at info@sociable.co. Remember, your feedback helps us grow. We welcome it. We appreciate you joining us. Until next time.